Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Star Wars Minute. It's your daily podcast in which we analyze, we scrutinize, and we celebrate the rise of Skywalker 1 minute at a time. I'm Alex Robinson from alexrobinson.fun.
I'm Pete the Retailer from PeteTheRetailer.com.
And I'm Jordan D. White, and I edit comic books at Marvel.
Welcome back, Jordan, returning champion.
Thank you so much. It's great to be back.
We're talking about minute 51 of the rise of Skywalker. Update your resumes accordingly.
We're in Area 51 of the movie.
All's well at Roswell. Minute 51 starts off with 3PO lamenting that it was all for nothing. And then 3PO realizing there might be another way. There we go.
Gotta be back to support my boy 3PO.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't get he gets some bits in this. He gets some bits in this movie. He doesn't get a huge amount in this movie, but he gets more than he gets in some, obviously.
Oh, I think it's quite possibly his best movie.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's up there. He gets some really good bits, like little comedy notes, and gets kind of featured as he gets to be part of the plot, which,
well,
when's the last time that happened?
Yeah, this is his big trailer line.
Yeah.
He gets one last look at his friends.
Yeah, just take one last look at my friends. And it made us all be like, oh my God, it's ending Star Wars.
3PO has never been part of the plot, has he?
Well,
it depends what you consider part of the plot.
Well, I guess the Ewoks. The Ewoks, they would have been eaten by the Ewoks if 3PO wasn't with them. So there you go.
Right. Ewoks is a big one. And also, well, I guess he wasn't part of the plot in Cloud City. He was a harbinger of doom by being destroyed, and they just carried him around.
Yeah.
And depending on your, R2-D2 could have done it without him, but in Star Wars, the motion picture, he kind of is part of, they're a team that's kind of doing this thing, and so he was helping kind of get I don't know. I guess he probably would have been more successful in his mission. Had to see 3PO not been there.
Yeah, does he help in any capacity in that film?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, backing that up, R2-D2 would have been captured by the Jawas.
Yeah.
Then Luke and Uncle Owen would have come by. They would have bought like CZ3 and R5D4 or something like that and moved on, and we never would have met Luke.
That's a good point. Also, he gets them out of the trash compactor, or at least he's the one with the communicator. R2 doesn't have a communicator,
right.
So
right.
He also because Luke doesn't speak R2 for some reason, R2 has to get 3PO to trick Luke to take the restraining bolt off, which will let him go and rescue Princess Leia.
Well,
so
I assume R2 tricks 3PO into tricking Luke. I don't
That's
think
what
he goes, tell him to get this bolt off me. he doesn't let 3PO in on the plan. Although, because when he does let 3PO in on the plan, 3PO rarely goes along.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's always arguing. And
this is a good... Okay, so the setup for this is a good bit. You guys have already covered it. But this idea, I like this idea that...
The Last Jedi?
No. For I can't tell you what the Sith translation says.
Oh, right.
I can't read the Sith to you, even though I 100% know what it says. Oh, man, I remember it every second. Oh, it's so interesting. It's exactly what you need to know. But no, I can't tell you. My programming it won't let me.
Right.
It's illegal.
It's very fun and funny. Although that said, it's illegal. I mean, aren't there droids who break laws? I feel like there are.
Wow. Yes, but not unless they're programmed to. That's the whole thing.
Not protocol droids. That's kind of the opposite of what protocol droids would do.
Well, except,
it seems like they could have put like the opposite of a restraining bolt on him. Maybe like Babu Frick could have put on what's the opposite of a restraining a
released inhibitions bolt.
Yeah, exactly.
a
tequila bolt. Yeah.
A drunk bolt. Yeah.
And a dud bolt. There you go.
Yeah, whatever happened to 4LOM, right? Like he was a
right. You mean Zuckuss?
Droid, right? Oh, Zuckuss. No. I mean 4LOM. Yes, you can't confuse me. I almost got confused.
Pizza Kenner fundamentalist.
Yeah. But you should be able to put one of those on him, basically get him drunk, slip him something and have him be like, oh man, yeah. Oh, you know what this thing says? Oh boy. Like there should be like an equivalent to that instead of having to kind of totally, go back and erase his whole being. But
Okay, I guess I'll save it for later in the week, a few days from now, because I have thoughts on the whole how it plays out. But we'll wait.
Well, let's start with the specifics. He's specifically saying he's taking one last look at his friends, and that's what he says.
Or Luke Skywalker.
I remember being very. I have a great deal of fondness for C-3PO. You know, the early Luke 3PO R2 part of Star Wars is like the first real encounter with Star Wars we get. So it's weird that he's referring to his. So I remember feeling much more so than I was with Chewbacca, being like, "Oh my God, they're going to kill off C-3PO," and feeling melancholic about that. Of course, I should have known my emotions were just being played with. But it was weird him referring to them as his friends, because I don't think of them as his friends. You know what I mean?
Well, Poe,
they're his master's friends. You know?
Well, don't forget, he's had a very, he doesn't get a lot to do in the prequels in general, right? Like, he's there for a few minutes. Or, sorry, prequels. I meant the sequels. He gets there in Force Awakens for a few minutes.
He gets a little too much to do in the prequels.
Yeah. He's there for a few minutes in the Force Awakens, like, mostly for the red arm gag. Like, he doesn't do a ton of stuff, but that's the big thing. And then...
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that was C-3PO?
I thought that was R3PO.
You thought he was just in the final shot of the film?
Yeah.
No, it's not the final shot, but the final. Anyway, what does he do? I love Last Jedi, and I can't remember him doing anything. Does he do anything in it?
He's kind of helping Poe with his plan. He's like,
really?
He's trying to talk them out of doing it, 3PO, and they're telling him to shut up. And so on. But yeah, other than that, he doesn't really do very much. Oh, in the end, he gets a nice minute, but he gets a nice thing with Luke, where Ghost Luke comes and he's like, "Oh, Master Luke," and he's
right.
Yeah. Anyway,
the thing that I know from my time working in the side things in the comics of the books,
Spice Mines of Kessel.
In the Spice Mines of Kessel, that's what we call it. Is that he's a spy master in this era. They don't ever talk about it at all in the movies. But
what does that mean? He controls spies?
He has a network of spy droids, by which I mean droids who are sympathetic to the Resistance, who report things. I think, isn't the guy, the person who tells the Resistance that BB-8 is at Maz's, isn't that a droid?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the one that looks like a weird bootleg 2-1B.
Yes, I believe that's someone in his network of spies, and so he helps them get information. And again, it's a great place for him. Like, I loved that for him, and I'm bummed that it never gets into the proper films. But that said, he's been working for the Resistance, so Poe, I think, is his good friend. Finn, I guess, must have become acquainted with him. Between
friend of your friend,
between the two movies, I assume, to some extent. Who else is with them in this? I mean, BB-8 is his friend, sure. It is a bummer that they split up R2 and 3PO so much in this film.
All three of the films, they get one scene together in the Force Awakens.
Yeah, and I mean, again, this is the one where he gets the most to do, but R2, I feel like, gets very little to do in this film.
Yeah.
The fact that the thing he does most of is he flies with Poe, which is like, wait, what? Like, that's literally BB-8's thing. Why do they stick?
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Does he? Wait.
Later. Spoilers. I know you guys haven't seen this film before, watching it 1 minute at a time.
No.
Like, for example, I have the orange and blue Poe Lego, and it comes with a little R2 that you put in the back, because that's who flies with him in this film. Him and BB-8 don't really hang out in this movie, which is a bummer.
That's not right.
Yeah. I know.
That's his pal, his little one of a kind.
I know. I mean, I know they wanna put BB-8 with Rey, which I get. I mean, she's the main character, and she and him had a bond from that first one. But I'd much rather.
Plus, they need something. They should. There's a whole different side plot with Rose Tico and R2-D2 and all these characters who are underserved in this movie being like, hey, what? Well, hey, we went to a casino or something. No, it's okay. We don't need to know that part of the story.
I remember when everyone was freaking out about how poorly this film served Rose. one of the things they said publicly was, oh, she had a bunch more to do and it ended up getting cut out because it didn't work with the stuff we were trying to do with Carrie Fisher footage.
Yeah.
I don't know how true that is, but that's what I remember them saying.
From what I gather, that's mainly because she was a larger part of the, she hung out with General Leia and kind of helped plan this whole thing. But once their availability, once Carrie Fisher's availability became minimal because of previous engagements in the afterlife, then that kind of had the effect of kind of putting a damper on Rose's involvement, which, I mean, I guess they could have maybe, I don't know if it was like, she doesn't really do anything super important. I mean, she does, but it's behind the scenes. They don't really let you know that she was doing much other than like figuring out how Star Destroyers work and how to destroy them, which is important, but they don't really go into it much because they don't have those, I feel like they could have reconstructed the scenes maybe with, not have Leia in there, but just have it be Cato Kokonix, Billy Lord and Snap Wexley and
get Charlie from Lost to say some more stuff.
Not Penny's boat and then
it'd be perfect.
It does indicate, though, that Rose was not going to be part of the gang. She was going to be back at the base with the less cool characters.
Another important role. Hey, if I had an option, if I had the choice, hey, do you want to come go do all this dangerous stuff and we might explode, or do you want to go read a book about how Star Destroyers work? And I'm like, yeah, I'll do that second part.
Oh yeah.
To be fair, she is a technician, so that is that is the thing. Although if she was there, maybe she could have helped with 3PO.
And those rules generally have not they bring 3PO along down to Endor for some reason. There's no reason they need a protocol droid on a mission. That's never really been a. She could be fixing the ship or something. Anyway,
well, not about translating. They he ends up.
But they don't think we're going to encounter Ewoks. Let's bring 3PO. They just go.
Case.
They literally are like, we're on a stealth demolition mission.
Right,
let's bring our protocol.
Let's bring the shiniest guy we got.
I mean, even on this mission, it's completely coincidental that he became super useful. That he saw a thing that none of them could read, but they had no idea this was coming. I have a question about the whole plot of the film.
All right, that falls under our purview.
So I've seen this movie 3 times. This was watching it in preparation for this was the 3rd time I ever saw it. The first time was in the theater. The second time I watched it with my son when I finally showed him all of them. He was probably like 3 or something. I don't know. And then the 3rd time was now. I will say I liked it more every time I see it, because to say I didn't like it is like a ridiculous thing to say in the sense of it's a Star Wars movie. So I didn't like it that much, but I would still rather watch it than most other movies. Same way I feel about Friday the 13th movies. Some of them are bad, but I will still watch them 27 times. It's fine.
Yeah. Where would Rise of Skywalker be in the Friday the 13th ranking? Where would it? What is it better than of the Friday the 13th?
Well, it's certainly.
I'm not doubting it, but I'm just curious.
Jason Takes Manhattan, because that's the worst one in my opinion. That's by far the worst one. But
does that one not have kind of campy fun value?
It does, and that's probably why I'll be willing to revisit it on the podcast I'm doing now. Nature Trail to Hell, where we watch horror movies. When we talked about that one, that's the one where I referenced you guys because I said, I don't know that I would have a lot to say. Even though I love the Friday the 13th movies, I couldn't do Friday the 13th minute. I don't have a lot to say for every minute. For that film, I have plenty to say for every minute because I think every minute is so bad. there's I got a half hour about how bad every minute of that film is. I'm no problem. Okay, so the plot of this film, right?
Okay, let's hear it.
They are trying to go to, oh my God, I've just forgotten the name. I know all the names of the planets from the Lego. Exegol. From the Lego game, by the way, rules. I know we're not supposed to talk about things that aren't the movie, but it rules.
No, we can.
just not toys.
So okay, well it's a game of toys. So it's anyway.
I'll allow it. Tread carefully.
Exegol. So they find out that the Emperor is alive, sure, and that he's there. Okay, and they go, okay, what we need to do is go there.
Go to there.
Why? Why do they need to go there? Now, it's one of those things where, again, spoiler for the movies, in the long run of the plot, it will get to a place where it turns out it's good that they're there because they can do X, Y, and Z things that they didn't know they could do, and they can defeat everyone and win. But none of that is in their plan. Their plan is just, that's where he is. Let's go there. And I don't understand why.
To the source.
It's so difficult to get there. He's going to come out. He has to come out in order to fight you.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's mainly they're trying to get to the fleet, the Sith fleet, the Final Order, before it gets, because from there they're going all over the galaxy. Like all of those Star Destroyers are going to every system, every free system.
But they don't even know, at that point, they don't even know the capabilities of that fleet. Like,
no, but they just, I think they know how he's building a huge fleet and it's going to go destroy all the free systems. So, because I think that was in the transmission, right? Doesn't the Emperor is just like, hey, here's what I'm doing.
Like, even that, I don't
have
know
all
how
my
great of a
ships
plan
right here.
that is.
Don't come get me yet. Wait till I'm ready.
No, but hold on. Even that's not that great of a plan. They're sitting there going, there's 100 of us. He has 1,000,000 bigger ships. Let's go there. It seems like getting a few of them to come out and then blowing them up is a much safer plan.
Yeah. Like wait just outside of Exegol.
Yes. Especially considering it's so difficult to get there.
Like standing outside the door of Exegol with a bat, just waiting for each one to come out like bonk.
Put a bucket of water on the door so when they open the door, the water comes crashing down. I have a similar, while researching this minute, I did think of, I was researching Star Destroyer. 1,080, by the way, is the official tally of Final Order Star Destroyers. 1,080.
1080.
So, as established, there's some kind of, the clock is running because Palpatine said, I will attack at X time, right? That was
Exegol time.
Yeah. So, but he also sent Kylo Ren to get Rey. So is Rey going back? Is the attack contingent on Rey going? Would the attack happen with or without Rey going there?
Well,
without Kylo Ren bringing.
At this point, he still wants her dead, right? He sent Kylo Ren, said, "Kill her."
Right.
And then it eventually becomes bring her here. When his other plan, I don't even remember why, but at some point his plan shifts from kill her to bring her here.
Yeah, he tells Kylo Ren, kill the girl. And I'm also going to attack. So, but these things are not contingent. So if Kylo Ren said, I don't want to do it, he's still bringing his Star Destroyers here anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just a matter of whether or not the Emperor is driving them, or I guess if he brings Rey, then theoretically he's like, here's your fleet. We'll just trade.
Rey. But again, he tells him, kill her.
Yeah.
He wants her dead. And then Kylo and only betrays
so she
him.
Can't stop the fleet, right?
Yeah.
Again, this is all weird. This is all weird because everybody's plan is real fluid in this movie. Everybody has a really wishy-washy plan where they're like, just try this. Oh, change it to this. The Emperor wants her dead. Why does he want her dead? I don't know. Because
so she doesn't stop the plan. He knows, he's foreseen, he's using the Force. He knows, a Jedi can stop this plan.
But then why does he switch to, I want her to come here?
Because he saw something else.
Well, he's like, oh, wait a minute. The two of you together, that's something special. Let me absorb that.
No, he doesn't even know that until the very end. I was shocked by that too, because I was sitting there going, at some point, Kylo says to Rey, he doesn't know that we're a dyad. And I'm sitting there going, but he's Snoke, and Snoke's the one who told you that. So how does that work? And I don't know the answer, because then at the end, he very much is like, whoa, you guys are a dyad.
I guess Snoke told him, Snoke accidentally blurted it out without, and then, like, anyway.
I guess he makes the Snokes and goes, like, here's what you need to do, Snoke. You're kind of me, but you're kind of not. Go off and do that and report in once in a while. And Snoke never told him that.
He's not literally just sitting there puppeting the Snokes. He's just like, okay, here's.
Yeah, I didn't think of Snoke. I didn't think Snoke was aware of the Emperor. Like, I think I thought he was. I always imagined that he was controlling him via like mystical means. He's not literally. It's not like Count Dooku where he's saying, "Okay, this is what I want you to do." Like, as far as Snoke knows, he is the boss. At least in my head canon. But we don't really know anything about it, so. We don't really know what the relationship was like, unless it was in the comics or something. But I can't imagine. That seems like such a can of worms to open up.
A cannon of worms, if you will.
So second of all, my other plot point that I thought of was he has 1,080 Star Destroyers, each one of which has a Death Star gun in it, right?
Yes.
Why go through the trouble of building Starkiller Base when you have 10,000 Star Destroyers, like, there?
Well, I guess the answer is what you just said. That's Snoke's plan, not Palpatine's. And Snoke was like, I want to make this. And Palpatine was like, yeah, go ahead. Like, have fun.
Palpatine's like, sure, devote all those resources to he can't just say, hey, you know what, here's a Star Destroyer with a Death Star in it.
Also, I think it's like, the fleet might not have been totally ready yet, getting there, but not ready yet. And the Emperor's not ready yet.
Yeah. It was like a year and a half ago with Starkiller Base. So it's not like he should have known, like, okay, we got another year and a half. Let's wait and hold off.
He's like, just do your thing. Hey, if you're successful, great. That saves us a lot of time and effort.
Starkiller Base does represent an advancement from the Death Star because it can fire through hyperspace, which is pretty big. Like, it doesn't even have to be in the system to blow up a planet. So it's still
you can also just send Star Destroyers that have light speed capabilities and hit 1,000 planets at the same time.
They could be blown up relatively easy, turns out, later.
Also, Starkiller Base, the destruction of the Hosnian Prime is important to destabilizing the galaxy, so there's no united front against this plan. So Starkiller Base served its purpose in doing that, in destabilizing the galaxy.
Star Wars authors who are listening to this podcast, yes, use it as an element in your next novel, that it is important that Hosnian Prime gets destroyed in order to build the Final Order fleet.
Right.
They couldn't have done it without that having happened.
Yes.
Back to C-3PO.
Maybe, sorry, last thing. Maybe Emperor sent like scavenger crews to where Starkiller Base was and like vacuumed up all the Kyber, and like he's using all of that in
reuse, recycle, renew.
Right.
I assume that there's it's got a Kyber core of some sort. I don't know that, but I assume that.
Probably.
For sale, one Death Star cannon, refurbished, factory, factory authorized, whatever they say, when it's licensed, it's officially refurbished. Don't worry, we guarantee it.
So where did you guys land on Babu Frick? Are you guys fans?
I think we're both like Babu Frick, I think.
Sure, yeah.
Listen, that's a pleasant surprise because I know sometimes folks can get unhappy about things that seem too cute or too toy-like. That it's like, that was put in to be cute and sold as a toy, and it's like, yeah, probably, but it's cute, and I'm bored.
I guess it's almost like one of those things where it's so far in that direction that it's almost like a parody of a Star Wars toy character. And it's such a silly idea. So I think that's kind of what it is. And also, I'm probably a lot more forgiving in the context of this film, which is a lot of cuckoo stuff in it. So him showing up The Empire Strikes Back would be a different story, but him in this movie he totally fits right in.
Special edition, special edition.
Yeah, you could retcon him all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's small. It's just slip him in.
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, I think I realized that outside of the original trilogy, the goofier the better for Star Wars. Like prequel, sequels, I like it when it's goofy. I like Andor and I like Rogue One and I like the serious stuff too, but like high tolerance for goof outside of the original trilogy.
Andor won me over, despite me going in real skeptical. Not because I don't like these people or any of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have an inherent. It makes me unhappy when something that is intended for families becomes not for families. And so as it currently stands, Andor is the only Star Wars that I have not been able to watch with my son. Like, he watched the first episode with us, and A, he got bored, and B, we were like, this is not what we thought we were coming on to. So that's the only thing. And so that's it. So I went in after that going, well, I do want to watch it, but I was like, oh man, why do they got to make like semi-R-rated Star Wars? And then it was so good that I couldn't help but like it anyway.
That's ties into, because it's same characters. There's no Rogue One Golden Book. All the other ones have Golden Books, but they never made a Rogue One Golden Book.
But my 5-year-old son has watched it now twice. Once at home, nice. And then I took him to the IMAX when they showed it in IMAX.
Oh wow!
Right before Andor came out.
Oh, that's good to know because I don't think I know my kids have definitely seen the original trilogy. I think they've seen all 3 prequels and Force Awakens. But I don't think they saw. I don't know if they've seen Rogue One, and they definitely haven't watched any of Mandalorian or Andor or any of the TV stuff.
Now hold on,
the cartoons.
Hold on. Outside of the original trilogy, the goofier the better. But except the Droid Factory, right? Like that doesn't.
I would say the
count,
prequels
right?
in general. You're probably not a fan of goofiness as much as
well.
Like,
I mean,
Jar Jar's
goofy,
your man, and he's as goofy as they come.
I mean, I love the Phantom Menace is my favorite one because, like, if you're going to be like, of questionable quality, you might as well be of questionable quality and goofy, and not questionable quality and take yourself very seriously. I'm not
true.
I know there's a lot of people who like the prequels. I'm talking from my own perspective, my own point of view. I Phantom Menace is the one I enjoy the most because it's kind of lighthearted and fun versus taking itself super seriously.
Yeah. That tracks.
But yeah, I do not like the Droid Factory. Does that count as goofy? That's more just kind of like.
Well, the 3PO parts are super goofy.
Yeah,
the 3PO parts are.
Yeah. All right.
Well, speaking of 3PO, he's about to have his mind wiped, and he's all sad.
Yeah.
And
I love the back of his head open. Sorry, I love the back of his head open.
I do. I like that too. Yeah.
He's like Palpatine. He's on like a set of wires.
Oh.
I was trying to think of like the relationship, if you believe they put a man on the moon
in Life After Love.
In Life After Love, if you believe that Palpatine influenced the Force to create life and create Anakin,
it's his grandfather,
and then Anakin built C-3PO, then Palpatine is also Rey's grandfather. Palpatine is also C-3PO's grandfather, in addition to Rey's grandfather.
He's the maker's maker.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank the maker's maker.
Palpatine is technically not the grandfather because it was a clone of Palpatine, not Palpatine's.
But I think he says he is, doesn't he? He uses the word, doesn't he?
I don't know.
Somebody does.
Kylo does.
Right. So,
anyway.
So really, the relationship with C-3PO is more direct than with Rey, is what you're saying.
From a certain point of view.
All right, I buy it.
I just thought of something else.
What you got?
I go back. No, that's what 3PO says, and I go back and forth on how I feel about that bit. Like, I think it's funny. I think you know what? It's funny. I'm good. I'm good with it.
Yeah,
I feel
like
terrible for him, but I like it.
Well, I wonder what is the solution that he just came up with, or was it just kind of a like, wait a minute, hold on, like I'm don't shut me down. I'm having second thoughts. I'll come up. Is he just stalling for time, or did he actually just think of something?
I feel like it was more the former. Rather, I feel like Babu Frick would probably know any other possibility of how to do this, or then unless he just doesn't really care.
Yeah, that's
they didn't
the
say
thing.
They didn't say, Babu Frick, we need to do this. They said, hey, Babu Frick, we got this thing locked in this memory that we need to get out.
Yeah.
Plus, don't forget, like, our heroes are usually the exceptions who think that droids are worth considering. Most of the universe doesn't.
Right.
I mean, here again, the thing that we're threatening 3PO with here is a thing that already happened to him in the films. Like, he's already been through it.
Yeah.
This terrible, awful thing. So it's not that big of a threat. Like, honestly, I thought it was going to be, well, let's talk about it next minute.
I mean, do you think J.J. Abrams, it sounds crazy, but does J.J. Abrams not know that? Do you think he was aware that do you think it was in his mind that 3PO has already had his memory erased? And
what do you think, Jordan?
Well, I think that I'm sure he probably. Well, first of all, somebody knows that if he didn't know that, but I'm sure he did know that because I'm sure he's seen all the films. Right. It's more that I think it just was about creating the drama, creating the tension of we're going to lose our friend, like you said you experienced from the trailer. And I experienced it too, and it's because the thing that I am anticipating as a viewer at this moment is not remotely what happens. And I don't even mean at the end of the film. I mean, it's not what I expect to happen 2 minutes from now.
That's the rise of Skywalker all over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, but again, I feel like I shouldn't talk too much about it because parts of what are going to happen in the next couple of minutes. So,
all right, yeah, we'll save it then.
All right.
I do like the gag of that. I have an idea. Not as much of When Dio said sad,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm glad you're here to tell us these things, Dio.
Poor Dio.
I realized that Dio basically is speaking in emoji this whole time, but it's translated into English. But like if you just imagine what he's saying as an emoji, have it just like pop up on the screen.
I would like that better if a little hologram of an emoji popped up.
Really?
There's the top of his head behind his
I really don't like J.J. Abrams' voice in that role.
Oh, I was gonna say that's yeah. Have you talked about that's him? So yeah.
Yeah.
Poor, I think that's a
let's
thing
see.
because I think it's more of a rumor. Isn't it a rumor that oh my God, I've just forgotten his name. The guy who made Rebels and Clone Wars.
Dave
Filoni. Isn't it the rumor is that Dave Filoni is Chopper, right?
I think that
was the voice of Chopper?
Yeah.
I was told that was accurate, that was a thing, but I don't know.
Seems plausible.
So people like to bring themselves in as droids, which is fair. I would, if I was
Sure.
going to do a voice, I'd do a droid voice. What else would you do? I guess an alien voice. It would be awesome to be a droid voice, though, to be fair.
Also, we get a little bit of Hux. There's a little scene lit at the end where Hux is like, should we blow up the planet? And Kylo Ren puts his finger up a la Han Solo, and then just walks away. Are we supposed to think this is funny or scary or both?
I think we're supposed to think it. I think we're supposed to see how much Kylo has humiliated Hux. Because, again, they were in competition for, like, being the number 2 guy. And then Kylo clearly won last time. Yeah. But he doesn't even keep Hux as the number 2 guy. He's like, I've got a new number 2 guy up above you. You're junior to this guy we've never heard of before, Pride.
Right.
Which is pretty bad for poor Hux. I mean, I get why he does what he does. It still isn't smart of him, but I get it.
And let's not forget Admiral Francis Griss.
Now, who's that now?
Also in this scene.
Never.
Never forget Admiral Francis Griss.
They each get one line. They rehearsed it where they each get. You say
it's
the
like
part
a
about
barbershop
this.
quartet.
You said.
It's like, should we blow up the planet?
I like it.
But I didn't even make the Han Solo connection. That I think you're right.
I didn't either until I just did the motion myself. I didn't think of it.
That's
totally,
one of like 3 or 4 things he does in this movie where they say do the Han Solo motion. So I'm sure that's
Come on,
actually
baby,
the
do
point
the
of
Han Solo
scene.
motion.
The shrug and the shooting behind himself and all the stuff like that.
Yeah.
That they wanted to bring out the Han Solo in him, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Although I guess that conjures up that must be a thing Han did to his son a lot, which isn't cool.
Oh, yeah.
Han.
Maybe you saw him doing it to other people, doing it to Chewie and 3PO,
even better.
of course.
Yeah. And the lady at the drive-through when they're picking up
Leia.
Oh, it gets worse all the time.
Oh.
Do you think they ever thought about naming him Bail?
Bail Solo.
It probably came up, but then they were like,
He's like, I'm a big Ben Quaterneros, and I always told myself if I had a son, I'd name him after Ben Quaterneros.
We're past
in her face.
We're past Pisana, right? Yeah, we're past Pisana. Okay, you guys must have done the joke about the girl asking her, "What's your name?" and her going, "I don't have one," and the girl going, "Oh, so you're Rey Solo, right?" Like that must have come up because this is literally the second film where that happens in. When that happened in this one again, I was like, "What? How are they doing the same bit?"
No, you know what? Didn't come up.
Yeah, like that's what the girl should have said.
Yeah, Rey Solo.
Well, anything else for minute 51?
I just had one note that not quite a misunderstanding because I knew, for half a second I thought that when Zori Bliss is like the awkward exposition of night raids are going to start soon. I thought she said migraines for half a second. Migraines are going to start soon. I was like, tell me about it, sister.
Poor 3PO.
But yeah, that's that.
Love it.
All right. Well, C-3PO is dead, unfortunately. But if you'd like to know more about people who might be what they call dead, you should check out our new podcast, Who Died with Pete and Alex. Every week we do a roundup of some noteworthy people and otherwise who might have shuffled off this mortal
ducks,
coil.
Trees.
Yeah. It's
a ship, a cup, a speeder.
Menagerie out there.
Do you cover fictional characters?
We mentioned Rick Dalton, the recent Quentin Tarantino one. Yeah, but so far there's always been enough big non-fictional names to include, and that seems like a higher priority. But go to whodied.xyz and you can watch the show on YouTube or listen to it in your ear holes a la podcast style. And we hope you'll listen to us podcast style tomorrow on the next Star Wars Minute.
Star Wars
Minute.
Minute.